What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of WesterBros. This could be a bonus episode. We don't know right now. We just got inspired, so we had to talk about it. I said that we were going to talk about the movie Bright on Brilliant Idiots, and I think we definitely mentioned on Instagram. But I said we're definitely going to do a WesterBros episode. A lot of people have been asking for it. So we are back. I'm back here with Jack, Haney, and Marco, and we're going to start talking about Bright, man. We got a lot of division in the group about Bright.
Well, I think there's two things to talk about, right? The first thing is the movie. Did we like it? Was it good? And then the second thing is the business model and how it impacts things going forward.
Yeah, and I think most of our divisiveness. Well, actually, I can't really speak. Jack doesn't like it, and I feel like let's start with you. Why do you?
So hold on. First, this movie got crushed by critics.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Whether that was a valid criticism or not, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But
well, let's bring that up.
Consensus is that it was bad.
Let's bring that up right now, right? So the consensus of this, I have no fucking clue what this movie was, right? I had never heard a single thing a critic said. I was in Israel for 10 days. I come back, I'm jet lagged as fuck. It's like 7 in the morning or 5 in the morning. I can't go to sleep. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Will Smith did a movie on Netflix.
Right.
And I go, fuck it, I can't sleep. I might as well just watch it. And I turn on this movie and I'm besides myself. I'm like, dude, this is incredible for a Netflix show, right? And I understand, I'm pointing at Jack as I'm saying this. And I've said this about Netflix shows forever, which is they're not as good as HBO show, but the expectation is way lower because you can binge it, so you can get through a shitty episode and immediately get what you want the week after. And there are a couple things that lower your expectations. But knowing that, I'm watching this movie and I'm going, this is a phenomenal movie for not having to get up out of my bed and go to the movie theater, buy a ticket, buy popcorn, put on clothes. This is just watch at home. This is right here. This is before I went to iPick, by the way. That's changed everything. It's changed everything. So this is pre-iPick. This is bedbug movie theater. I'm used to when I'm making.
Going to go to iPick to watch SportsCenter.
I would go to iPick to nap. That should be the business model. Yeah. You have a wife? iPick.
$30, 2 hours.
I feel like Japan had invented that 30 years ago. It's just a nap pod. It just turned on some fucking good entertainment. Anyway, I watch it. I thought it was fucking amazing. I put a picture up on Instagram. And immediately I start getting ripped. Oh, you're just being a contrarian, Schultz. People said this movie is trash. The critics said it's trash. I had no clue what the critics said. Then all of a sudden people start saying, yo, I saw it too. These critics are bullshit. I can't believe they're saying it. And I start to look up what critics said, and I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I really enjoyed this movie, and I think I'm a pretty good judge of content. I'm not one of these guys who loves everything.
Right.
And I'm in the business, so I'm watching this with, I think, pretty clear eyes, and I thought it was great. I come to find out, I have a conversation with you guys, and Marco and I had a similar idea. Marco, you can express the idea the best way, which is why the critics hated it. And you said,
what I said, they basically couldn't have an unbiased opinion on something that would crush their business model, which is movies not releasing in theaters and the need to have critics take on it and the old rigmarole of the movie business instead of going directly to Netflix. So
a great point that I didn't realize that you come a little closer here. Great point that I didn't realize that you point out right now is, so I chalked it up to something else. I was like, why would the critics rip the movie? And then I go, well, who advertises on a critic's website or who advertises in a critic? The movie theater. Right. So, but what really cleared something up for me was the fact that reviews are necessary for getting out of your house, putting on clothes, putting on boots, putting on a jacket, and going to a movie theater. They are not necessary for turning on your TV and just watching a show.
That's word of mouth.
Precisely.
That's social media.
That's social media. That's
word of mouth. That's just, let me just hit play because I know I could bail on this in 15 minutes if I want.
I'm not invested.
There's no commitment.
I need to put an outfit on, B.
Right.
So that's what I didn't realize until right now, as you said. You were probably thinking that the whole time, but right now, as you said that, it's like, yes, the film critic's business is risky because we don't need you if I can bail in 2 minutes.
Right.
We do need you if I'm going to
invest.
If I'm going to take a shorty out.
Right.
That's an expensive night.
Hell yeah. Especially if you go to the iPick.
We're not going to iPick unless it's good.
Right.
So now I'm starting to see through this. And now Jack is bubbling. He's got a lot to say. Go.
You guys have basically said it, but like my whole thing is, you say this is an amazing movie. Is it the movie or the way in which you watch the movie.
But that shouldn't be anything new. Like, you've had Netflix for years. Like,
right.
you understand
But this
how
is the first like blockbuster Netflix production.
What
movie.
I've always said is this: low expectations are the key to life.
100%.
You know, a fast food burger from In-N-Out, we say, is amazing. Is it better than a burger from, you know, David Burke or whatever that steak restaurant is? Absolutely not. But when you walk in and you have the burger in 2 minutes and it costs you $2.50, you're like, this is the greatest burger I've ever had. So I'm not saying this is fast food film, but what I am saying is being able to sit on my couch and watch a major blockbuster actor. And you could argue, too, because Edgerton's no goofball. This guy's in movies.
He's a goofball in this movie.
He's a very funny goofball, but
I thought it was good.
maybe you don't like it. But that being said, like when you get to watch these two guys just from the comfort of your own home, you don't have to leave. And I'm getting this for what I perceive is free because I don't really consider automatic charges on my credit card spending money.
Of course not.
No, it's like spending money at the airport, right? It's like that.
It's in the cloud.
Yeah, you write it off.
Yeah.
That's what I say to myself when I'm traveling. When I spend $100 on at the Hudson News, I write it off. Yeah, just write it off. So I think that increased my appreciation of it. That being said, I like the world.
Yeah.
I'm a world guy. I'm a huge world guy. I can't watch it's hard for me to watch just a regular show that takes place in New York. I can watch a show with, you know, maybe orcs or a futuristic thing from Black Mirror, and I thought the world was really cleverly put together.
All right. I'm all about the fantasy genre. I love Lord of the Rings, one of my favorite franchises of all time.
Yeah.
To me, this just came across as analytical nonsense. Like, so the way that Netflix,
Coming out hot.
the way that Netflix,
Which
chooses
character did you audition for? That you didn't get.
the way that Netflix, infamously creates their project is that they look at data, they look at what people are watching, and they go, like, the whole reason that House of Cards became a project was they said people love, at the time, Kevin Spacey movies, David Fincher movies. Let's have David Fincher make a Kevin Spacey show. They're making original content. This to me is like they just put together like fantasy world with cop drama, like Training Day meets Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And it just came across
Sounds
as that.
great.
Yeah, I'm really loving it.
On paper, I love it, but to me, it just came across as so lazy. Like there was no like deeper anything. It's just like all this nonsense in like futuristic LA, and
Well, it's today, LA.
I hate
It's
it.
not futuristic.
No, it's futuristic. If you look at the skyline, there's like new buildings and like.
So that was the one thing that confused me because they did reference how that like there was this war 2,000 years ago,
Right.
right? But like, what was the world like 2,000 years ago?
Was 2,000 years ago what we're currently in right now?
Cool. Right.
2,000 years
No,
ago
because they have the same
completely
cars.
different?
That's what I was thinking.
No,
too. Okay,
2,000 years ago is arguably when,
and then these
when
people
Jesus
basically
was born,
now
right?
they have now assimilated into our society. Some of them for over the last 2,000 years.
Yeah, right.
Got it.
Yeah.
The
And
present day.
to present day. And, you know, people are taking on different attributes. Like the orcs just happen to dress like Jolos.
Yo,
You know
they
what I
have
mean?
to put
Like-
them in like FUBU jerseys. Like,
but
that
that's
was the
the-
only thing.
But I think it was a look at
It was like that was kind of like the movie is supposed to have an allegory of race, but they
Yeah.
somehow managed to be racist on its own.
It's also written by.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they're supposed to do a thing about race, but then they made really racial stereotypes of people.
oh yeah, orcs can't jump.
Yeah.
You ever seen an orc
weird.
jump that high?
Yeah.
And I thought there were interesting things. Like the horse cop was a centaur. I thought that was cute.
Bullshit.
Did you guys see that?
Yeah.
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 I liked it.
Yeah,
I
I
liked
mean,
it.
what else would you make a centaur?
I agree.
You know, if you're a centaur person and you
Yeah.
want a government job, you're not going to be at the fucking toll booth.
No.
Right? You're going to be a goddamn horse cop.
You're
You're already a
absolutely
horse cop, right? So I thought there was cute little things that happened. The idea that he was like an oppressed minority or whatever it was, and
I didn't care for that. Like, I see what they were trying to do with
Right.
that, and it was probably pretty clumsy the way they did it. And
Okay.
kind of like almost too obvious. And when I take it out of the context of the racial element,
Yeah.
and just focus it on like a fantasy cop drama,
yeah,
I enjoy it much more.
yeah. If you
I
just
don't
remove
think of
that.
it was like a serious thing trying to take on race like that. I don't like.
One, and
No,
I
think
want
they
to
were
get.
trying to do that though.
No,
I think
but
they
don't
were.
like that. Part.
But you just removed that from
I'm
your
removing that from my brain.
And I want to get your perspective on this because you're the only minority here. But like, with the orc character, there was this idea, at least how I saw it, which was what happens when you are a minority, but you don't double down on your group when you actually do things that are maybe go against the grain of your
Yeah.
group, and now you're not accepted by the new group that people perceive you as trying to join. You're also not accepted by your own group. Right, so do you experience any of that growing up? Like you're Egyptian
Yeah.
Muslim kid,
When
you're
you're,
growing up
when
in
you're
a Poconos?
brown, you're not white and you're not black.
So you got to choose.
Not even that you have to choose, but like I got along with white people, I got along with black people, but you're never fully one of them.
No, but you're Muslim.
Right.
But so within you, the comparison is like within the Muslim community.
So
do they start to look at you
where I
like
grew up, there wasn't a big Muslim community.
Right.
So I was either with white or black or whatever, right? Then
right.
you get older, you start meeting other, but like I wasn't part of them either.
But you had
because
a
I
big-
didn't grow up like I didn't have that mentality where like you see a lot of ethnic groups, they band together. You see a lot of times you'll see a group of Indians people.
You
together,
didn't have enough
Asians
to be
people.
together.
Right. So I only have a few really close Muslim friends, right? But most of my friends are white or black or Spanish or all over the place, right? So I'm a little different from that. So when I go and hang out in that world, I'm still an outsider because I'm not in that world.
So you're the orc.
I'm the orc.
But is it more? Is it awkward for you?
Please cut
I am
that
the orc.
clip.
Say it so emphatically.
Wait, I'm the orc? I'm the orc.
Yo, you feel like you've been waiting to say that your whole life. No, but like, do you feel when you're with a more like predominant group of like a Muslim community that only hangs out with?
This happened
primarily-
like a week
Do
and a
you
half ago.
feel
What happened?
outcasted from them?
Well, what happened a week and a half ago?
No, but I don't know if it's just self insecurity, but like I feel there's a difference, right?
Right.
And I hung out like a friend of mine was in town.
Yeah.
They now live in like Dubai, right? And
Yeah.
I'm gonna be in New York, hang out, met up with her friends, all Muslim, all Arab, and they all know each other, right?
Yeah.
So I'm the outcast in the sense that like, hi, I'm meeting you for the first time. I've met you like 3 times,
Right.
Like whatever, right? But also like I'm the guy that they only date
Within
they only date within the culture. I married a Cuban girl.
Right.
Right.
So did you bring your shorty with you?
She was there for part of the night and then bounced early.
So how,
Okay.
how was that dynamic?
Fine, right? And like when you see like everything was fine. These people are actually a little more different. They're kind of like they're a little older. They're kind of like a little bit more liberal now.
Sure.
Ah,
Right?
okay. Yeah.
But I knew some of them 10 years ago, and they were not like they're very strict.
Right.
Like strict to the culture and strict to the religion.
After your girl left, how long before you guys started discussing how to expand the caliphate?
No, but it was funny because the one guy I met, they had joined later on. I was like, yeah, I'm married. He's like, oh, is your wife Egyptian? I'm like, no, she's Cuban. And yo, he was like, he gave me a dap. Like, yo, good for you.
Wow.
Because we don't do this enough.
Really?
Right? But other people, you kind of feel like, oh, your wife's not Muslim. Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, all right. So you're a traitor. All right. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Wow.
you're not living up to the, you're the shame of your family type.
Yeah.
So you feel some of that too, right? But it was interesting that this guy was like, yo, good for you, man. Way to have the fucking balls to just do whatever
Right.
the fuck you wanted to do.
Really?
Yeah.
And when you like married your girl, were your parents cool with that?
Whole other podcast.
Yo, for real?
Whole other
Son.
thing.
No.
Son.
Yo, this was a long thing. I was with my girl for years before I
Like
even
10
mentioned.
years.
No, not 10. But for I even
7?
mentioned her name.
Yeah.
7?
The idea of her to my parents.
Bro, the fact
Hold
that
on, but the whole time he was getting advice from his friends to like, dude, tell your fucking parents. And he was saying, I'm not doing it till we're about to get married. I can't live with that stress. You don't know what it's like to be me. Blah, 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 blah.
see the
And
movie
we're like,
The Big
dude,
Sick?
and we're like,
Yeah,
dude,
that's Big
tell
Sick, yeah.
they're your parents. They love you. We had all met Haney's parents by this time. Like,
Yeah.
tell your fucking parents. They're going to be more pissed when you tell them, I'm marrying this girl who's not Muslim.
Yeah, yeah.
And and they're going to be like, dude, you all this time you didn't tell us about her?
Yeah, yeah.
They're going to be more pissed. Haney wouldn't listen. And then when he finally told them, they already knew.
wait, really?
They basically had a sneaky suspicion, right?
Facts.
Yo, son.
Right?
This is back to the Black Mirror episode. Stop living the lie.
Stop living
it's
the
just
lie.
harder.
There's a movie called The Big Sick that came out this year.
Yeah.
Slept on movie. Really good. Really,
Really
funny.
good, yeah.
Fix his
It's sad, isn't it, though?
Yeah.
Yes, there's a sad element to it.
Otherwise-
But that storyline in that movie is very similar. And I saw the movie with my wife, and like we were both kind of like laughing, like
Right, because you lived
Because
it.
you went through that
Yeah.
shit.
Right.
Anyway. But so yeah, the orc thing. That's they did that well. You know what my biggest gripe about this movie is?
Right.
I didn't like End of Watch meets Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so I
Right?
get that.
There's a good cop movie in here, and there's these, the fantasy world in here, and it seemed like they were like kind of like when you said, what did Netflix do? Fincher, Kevin
exactly
Spacey,
what they did.
match-
Yeah,
they
yeah,
were like,
yeah.
what's hot? Cop movies, Game of Thrones. Let's match up a fantasy world.
Yeah,
I'm in.
It
It doesn't
wasn't,
work.
I
and
like
it
that.
wasn't.
Yeah, yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
like that. Once Edgar Ramirez walked
Meatballs,
on
spaghetti. Put it together.
Oh, and he walked on screen as the
Italians
fucking
have been
elf?
doing this for years, and it seems to work out. We're about to go get Chinese food, right? They know what goes on.
What if you were like Chinese food / barbecue?
They have that. Wait, that's a
Yeah,
bad
it's called
example.
Korean.
Yeah.
There's a whole terrible fucking town made out of it, right? They barbecue the Chinese food. It's absolutely fucking delicious. Jack is the mayor. I'm the mayor. Yeah.
When Edgar Ramirez walked on screen with his blue hair,
Blue fucking
and his
hair.
elf ears, I was just like, this movie really I stopped taking it seriously. I really kind of checked out at that moment. Yeah. And I was really trying hard to check back in.
So I checked out in the first scene when he's trying to kill the fairy.
But the movie's not bad.
Well, no, I think that was more like people have said that Will Smith has gay rumors, so he's like beating up a fairy. He's like, no, I definitely am not with the gay shit.
Really? So Netflix was like a lot of
Whoever thought
Netflix was like, our data says that people think he's gay.
No, but I think what the fairy was about was establishing, hey, this is a world that looks just like Los Angeles, but trust me, it's very different. And that was the first time where we sit there and we realize, oh shit, there's going to be magical creatures here, and everybody's okay with it. It's not weird for the neighbors. It's not weird for them. Instead of mosquitoes, we got fairies.
Yeah,
I felt.
And I thought it did a good job. I was like, if I can accept this annoying bug fairy thing, okay, I can accept this.
Where I was.
Could have used a smaller fairy. That was like
the fairy was too big. It had fingers.
It's like that's a homicide.
Son, that's a baby. You're a cop.
That was
you're a cop. You're a baby killer.
You smashed it.
Too much.
It was too much.
That's the difference, though. So you guys are saying that's where you guys were in. That's where I was out.
You were out.
Yeah. And then,
actually,
what I enjoyed was I've never once walked out of a movie. Like when I go to the theater, I'm like in. But I was just like, I'm gonna fast forward through some of this shit. Like I have the ability to.
Well, that's because
you could just as easily move on to the next.
But
thing.
you would have just watched. If we didn't have to do this podcast, you would have just watched something else.
You would have checked out. You would have checked out.
I did that for every female storyline in Friday Night Lights. I binged Friday Night Lights, and they're hour-long episodes, and I literally just wanted to see if the team won. Right?
Oh, you just cared about the team? The one guy who's actually watching for the football?
Betting on the games?
The scores online.
Yeah.
Why do I have to watch the whole episode?
looked online for the record. I couldn't find the record without ruining it. So every time it was like the daughter plot or the mom plot, fast forward, back to like something good.
Hilarious.
Boom, there it is, yeah. Saracen, shout out to Saracen.
Yeah, Matt Saracen.
Anyway,
by the way, I've never seen Friday Night Lights. That's
it's great.
Fam,
incredibly high on my list of things.
Oh,
really?
My
we might have to.
I'm not holding it.
Yo, I've never seen it.
Yo, we might have to pick a second and do that.
Oh my god!
I like how you were like, really?
I don't like the type of, I don't like the type of people who like it. I don't know. I'm telling you.
You mean everybody? Because everybody likes it.
You will fucking
one of the greatest shows I've ever seen.
It's
one of the
I'm kind of
greatest
waiting
shows
for
I've
like
ever
that
seen.
time where I'm just like, I have nothing. I'm just gonna bang out.
Put it this way:
Friday Night
when you watch that show, you'll understand why everybody in that show that you see in movies now has a career.
Yep.
And
Taylor
all
Kitsch.
of Taylor, whatever, the dad, who's the dad and everything.
Michael B. Jordan, right?
Yeah,
Michael B. was also in Wire, obviously, but but what you'll do is you'll see, they're just trying to recreate their characters from Friday Night Lights in every single movie that they're in.
I've seen too many people who I know like aren't good at sports like love that movie.
Oh, it's for girls.
And I'm looking at them like, man, you never cried in the locker room.
No, the show is made.
Is it?
It's made for women to like a show about sports.
Okay.
And there's a distinct difference. I think
That's
it's
the first
after
time I've ever heard someone say that. That's interesting.
After season like 2 or something like that, they make a conservative or concerted, whatever that fucking word is, effort. Concerted effort. Is it concerted?
It's concerted.
Concerted effort. They make a concerted effort to like bring aboard, because it wasn't getting the numbers that matched the criticism, right? The critics loved it, but the numbers weren't there. So like, what can we do? Let's bring in some chicks. And there's more storylines that are about their daughter dating and all this crap. It's about the season.
It always is.
Oof. And it is.
Wins and losses.
Wins and losses. A lot of wins. Check it out.
A lot of
but
wins.
Back to Bright. Okay.
Back to Bright. You know what did carry this movie though, and this is what made me feel good about this movie.
Will Smith being funny.
Yes, Will Smith was funny again. Will Smith was a movie star again.
In an R
Not
movie.
in a weird way. Will Smith was doing old school Will Smith things, and it felt good.
Yep.
So it felt good.
It was like Bad Boys Will Smith.
Yeah, and did you guys feel
the good Will Smith?
Did you feel like he was riffing? There were times where he would
felt
say,
that way.
and it was like, yo, he's just saying these, he's fucking around.
yeah.
Like, this isn't a major motion picture to him. This is a Netflix movie.
Yeah.
And he's not taking the dialogue so seriously, and it's great.
When he went to the magic wand scene and she was like, oh, I just like killed these people for you, and because he wanted something else, and he was like, yeah, that's a start. Because when he was like, I wanted, let's get out of here and get to like Palm Springs, and she's like, well, what do you mean? I just did all these things for you, and he's like, it's a start, like, you know. But it was like, it felt like he was riffing,
Natural, organic, like a bunch of little ball bustery things.
Yeah.
I also like seeing him in R. We haven't seen Will in like a legit.
But that's a data piece. They're like, people like R-rated Will Smith. People like Will Smith and Bad Boys. Let's do that. It's all fucking.
So what you're
calculated
describing, why don't we all do that? That seems like. I mean, look, if you ask me, if I'm somebody who's a content creator, right, and I'm not like an artist, I'm a content creator, right?
You're a studio. You're not.
I'm a studio. I don't care about the art. I care about delivering a product that people will eat and digest. I would look up these data points. I would look at what people are interested in, and I would look up what type of will they like.
I don't think you can create I mean, this is going into like creative concepts.
Go.
I think art can't come from data. Like good work can't come out of like. So for me, it's like it kind of just becomes a numbers thing, and I'm like, I don't like the whole thing.
So now, but that's the problem with Will Smith's career
because he's always gone by the numbers.
Calculated guy who's always picked his next script by a certain set of parameters. Like these are always blockbusters, and he's got a checklist. And his team has always done that checklist
from
and
the
that's
90s.
From the 90s.
And if you look
the
at the 90s,
that he became as big as he is not an accident.
So maybe you can do that.
But if you look at the 90s,
but that's also where it went off the rail.
He had a string of just phenomenal run, and then
the 4th of July
Will
Smith weekend.
Yeah, exactly. And then it started to fall off as he got into the 2000s, probably later 2000s.
Right.
And now it's become almost like a joke, like a Will Smith movie. You're like, oh, this is gonna suck.
Right.
Dude, have you guys seen Independence Day recently? By the way,
So good.
First of all, not only does it hold up. This is
so
how big of what a fucking superstar Will Smith is. I thought it was his movie. I watched that movie again. He's in like 20 minutes of the movie. No, it is, but it's not in terms of screen time. It's 20 minutes.
He dominates.
Is it 20 minutes?
That's my argument.
Yeah,
what I'm trying to say is he's such a superstar.
I'm with you.
The way I remember, I don't know exactly 20, but the way I remembered the movie.
Yeah, you think about it. He's in
every scene.
Yeah.
He's barely in the fucking movie.
So the thing about Will Smith is that
he's an extra.
For us three particular, maybe you're a little bit younger than us. He's like our superstar.
Yeah.
The guys are like, we're 33, 34.
Yeah.
Like he's our guy. Like,
our sense of humor
we grew up
based
with
on
him.
Yeah.
Are based on him. Like we watched Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah.
Like especially for like white kids. Like this was like
Fresh Prince was huge,
this was my Cosby's.
Will
like,
Smith,
this is what I saw.
Vince Vaughn.
Right.
That's kind of who created our sense of humor, created how we speak to girls, the whole thing.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
And like he was, we watched him become a superstar, and he was like our superstar.
Yeah.
So that's why like we have like kind of a bond with Will Smith.
And it's almost like sad when you see him in a shitty movie. You're like,
sucks.
Man, it breaks your heart because that's you a little bit.
Who's our hero?
That's fucking Luke. That's why they feel that way about Luke.
That's the thing. He fell.
Who can afford Netflix and may not want to go out to the movie theaters?
Those old
guys our age.
Wow. A data point.
I swear to God, every single thing in this movie is a data point. Every single fucking thing.
But what if you get the data points and then you hire an artist to make art?
That's true.
I mean,
art and science.
That's it. You get the nerds to do the nerd shit, and then you get the artists to do the artist shit, and you get something beautiful.
Have we seen that yet? Have we seen it work in that way?
I mean, Alex just said Marvel movies, and don't think for a second that Marvel isn't using data points. They're not just a bunch of free-thinking artists out there throwing around whimsical ideas.
The plan of them releasing the movies is 100% data, right?
Yeah,
And it makes sense. But the fact that how they're executing it, they're giving it to the artist.
But they don't have the direct access. So that's like, we're talking about the actual studio model, traditional, where it comes out in theaters. And, sure, they can get the numbers to the ticket sales. Netflix is directly in our part. Like Netflix has access to all of our activity. It's like what we're doing. Yeah. So they have more access, like they have more data than Marvel does with, and they have their TV shows, but like
they have the perfect data for their viewer base because they know exactly what their viewing habits are. Right? Imagine a restaurant.
And they know what they're like. Yeah. Narcos was big. Have you noticed that there's a lot more Spanish-related shows?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like my wife is watching House de Papel or something like that. Like she's watching all of them. Like she's crushing all these things.
This is what happens when you don't have a Muslim wife.
She's
okay, if you had a Muslim wife, she wouldn't even know what the TV was.
There's like two other ones that she's watching. I'm like, what? Like, is this the same show? She's like, no, it's different. I was like, what the fuck? Like Netflix is just plowing these out because they know that there's a market for this now.
Right. Son, Netflix India is going to explode. Deadass. Like Netflix India is going to fucking. You have, what are they, 2 billion people over there?
Yeah.
You have 2 billion people at your disposal. I mean, that's the difference maker. Bollywood is a bigger industry than Hollywood, just off of sheer numbers. Anyway.
My whole thing is, like, if we, and this is, I already said this, but like, if we saw this in theaters, like, if we saw Justice League on Netflix, I think you would have liked it more.
Yes.
Ooh, good call.
This is
great
my question.
And so,
great point.
For me, it's like I still hold it to the same standard. This is a trash movie, in my opinion. I think people only liked it because they have access to it in their own.
This is my question.
Let's go with that. Yeah,
and it's based on this.
Mm-hmm.
the economics of how this movie makes money, right? Right. How does Netflix is just Netflix created it, right? So it's within their global budget, right?
Which is insane at this point.
What is funny is that this is where these tweener blockbusters should go. Like when you have if this came out as a blockbuster, this wouldn't have done well.
No,
and people would not have gone and seen this, right? Even if it had good reviews, people would be like, I don't get this. This doesn't make sense. I'm not going to go see this.
Yeah.
But it's Will Smith. But it's just mythological creation that makes it feel like it's this blockbuster. Sure. There's a lot of other movies like that too. You take the risk off the table of making a bomb. You get Netflix to fund it, and then you have people with a decent reception.
It's Five Napkins Burger.
It's Five Napkins
compared to Five exactly what it is. Yeah. It's not David Burke.
Right.
If you gave a Five Napkins Burger to somebody at a David Burke or another great steak restaurant, you'd be like, this burger's okay. Or I don't know if it bombed, but you'd be like, it's okay. I don't need to go see this. But it's a great mid-priced burger.
Right.
For the
fast food in and out.
It's not fast food. It's one level up, but it's a fucking for where it's at.
Right.
You're like, well, this is $14. This is delicious.
Right.
And I think that's what they hit the nail on the head. And I think that should be the business model. We don't need to do DC here.
No,
we could take off $100 million and do these mid levels because now what happens is in the future, what happens when all movies shift?
But they paid a lot.
I don't think they will. What do you mean? Say it again.
What happens when the model shifts to an at home? It is already shifting.
But I think
then the expectation will rise, right?
Yeah, but I think the stone cold blockbusters are always going to be out there.
Fair.
Right? Like the movie, there are going to be certain movies that, but there's only so many of those movies.
Right.
That this is the home run.
Yeah.
Right? We got Spielberg, we got DiCaprio. We're coming out there, we're putting it out, right? Yeah. But there's a lot of stuff that it's like, oof, I had a big budget and I don't know how that one's going to do, right?
Yeah.
That's the stuff that should gravitate towards the streaming market.
Yeah, like to a certain extent, when we watched Black Mirror, there were a bunch of short films. Not, big enough or good enough to hold an hour and a half.
Yeah.
But great if you lock them together and put this. So they found, maybe that's what it's about, finding the fucking home for your shit.
Are you guys aware that Netflix has been putting out original movies?
Yes.
Right? This is the first
one that
costs $100 million.
Yeah.
But Netflix has put out, even this year I watched The Discovery, the Jason Segel movie, low budget, solid movie. They had
there's
Okja. What was Okja?
Oh, Okja. But they bought that. That was originally a Korean movie. Yeah.
There was another one.
Meyerowitz Project.
Meyerowitz Project.
Beast of No Nation, which was controversial because it should have been nominated and didn't because the industry was like, fuck Netflix.
Right. These are like lower. These movies didn't cost as much as a blockbuster.
Right.
Solid movies. This is a blockbuster.
This was the first attempt
with the blockbuster actor.
So here's my question: how much does it cost to promote a film? Like a DC or Marvel, like what is that budget? 80 million?
It depends on the project, but you could 30, 40, 50 million. Like
I've heard even up to 80. But,
for the big level stuff. Yeah,
for big level stuff, 80. Let's say for mid level, let's say 50 is just fair for a big movie. We'll undersize it, right? With Netflix, and I don't know about you guys, I've seen very few signs promoting Bright because they're already in your email. They're already on the front screen.
It's in your head,
you're saving 75% of your promo budget. Put that back into the movie. So a $200 million movie, a lot of people don't know this, is actually a $250 million movie because they don't include promo budget into it. So you take that promo budget, you put it right back in the movie. So they spent 90 on the movie, and then they spent maybe 10 million on promo. It's a $100 million movie that you get $170 million value out of.
That's interesting.
The math makes sense. Like you get to save the 50 in promo because you're already in their house.
But your upside's capped.
That's right.
Right.
Your upside is, that's a great point.
Your upside's capped.
That's a great point.
This is basically the marketing budget for Netflix. Like they're driving viewership. My marketing, I have $100 million to spend or $200 million to spend this year in marketing.
Yeah.
Round numbers. I'm gonna make a $100 million movie out of it.
Explain upside's capped.
And then when you put out a movie that you maybe cost $75 million to make,
you can make
My Big Rat Freak Wedding, right?
Yeah,
that costs like $25
Big Rat Freak Wedding.
Listen, Listen,
big
please
rat
do
freak
not
wedding.
describe the girls you have one night stands with. Okay, we want to hear about my big fat Greek wedding.
My big rat
My
freak.
rat freak. Listen, the rat freak came over the other day. I put a little tip of cheese on my dick. It was great. Gnawed that shit off and went to town.
Yo, they need like a.
So
they have like
says spank my ass like it's a trap.
Back to Marconomics. Go ahead.
So the upside is you can make a small budget movie that could just absolutely blow up and be a total cult hit, and, and then it becomes a huge.
So you
money
you
maker.
spend 75 and you could make $1 billion.
Well, like Star Wars. You
Right.
spend $200 million and you still make $2 billion.
Right,
You know
right,
what I mean?
right.
So
But
that's your upside.
but what you're saying is with Netflix, they're spending maybe 80, 90 million.
And you're not you're not realizing the gains.
Yeah, you can't make $1 billion off that movie unless you get all these new people signing up, etc.
Correct.
All right.
It's important to know too that they're unaffected. Like Netflix is just unaffected. At least with this model, with their TV shows, it's different, but unaffected by critics. So like critics hated this thing, and this set records. I think they had 10 million 11 million within like a week.
Yeah.
They greenlit it the sequel right away.
Yeah.
Like if this was a movie that came out in theaters and bombed, which it probably would have if it came out in theaters, this is done. This project is done. It's a loss for the studio. This is a huge win for Netflix, even though. You know,
if you get 1 out of 4 of these to be good for Netflix,
You're good.
You're golden.
yeah.
You know what the
Because
biggest?
it's so easy to watch.
Do you know what the biggest hits for Netflix are?
No.
Adam Sandler movies.
Yep. That's
And
why
I
he has
haven't
that like
seen a
9
single one of
and,
them.
and they're all trash.
And I'm not talking about the old school
Yeah.
Happy Gilmore Adam Sandler movies. I'm talking about like
Kevin
Grown
James
Ups 9.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
Like,
well, that's my dad's market. Like he loves that.
but that's your dad's market and it's little kids market too.
Yeah, they love that humor.
Right? Little
yeah.
kids love Adam Sandler movies.
Where they're all pissing in the pool and they're like
Fart
"What's going on?"
jokes,
Yeah.
dick jokes, that kind of shit like that. Yeah.
But I think that's why, and this goes back to kind of what we covered too, but that's why that's why critics really hate on this, because critics have power. Rotten Tomatoes, and I guess now it's owned by Flickster, which is part of the thing, they have so much control over the movie industry, over like who goes to see what, and they almost have too much control. A lot of the studio like execs and heads say that the Rotten Tomatoes is just too much power over the industry, and this is kind of taking that away. Because now,
Well, how do they have so much power? How does
because
that?
if you're going to a movie, if you're going to iPick and you're going to spend $60,
Yeah.
you're going to make sure that the movie you're seeing, you can check out and read a couple reviews and be like, all right, I'm into this or
But
I'm
I
not.
thought it's all user based.
No, it's all, they compile, there's an audience rating, but the whole model of Rotten Tomatoes is it compiles all of the reviews from every, publication. Metacritic, yeah.
Oh, so they have an algorithm that allots a certain percentage to regular users, to critics, etc. And
it
99%
directly affects-
means that everybody liked it unanimously.
It's like if it's over 70%, it's fresh. It's like certified fresh.
Yeah.
And that means it's like a good movie, a pretty good movie. If it's 90, it's a great movie.
Because it's tomatoes.
so it got to be fresh.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Like Get Out came out in February. That's normally when, shitty movies come out, and it had like a 99% Rotten Tomatoes, I think,
For a
and
while.
it broke records in terms of box office. I don't doubt that part of the reason why, other than word of mouth, is that it got such a high rating because it's a great movie. But like people got that through Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
Just like you get that it's a bad movie. So I think it's taking the power away, which is probably good. It's like an equalizer, but
Sure. There's going to be a sequel to this too.
yeah, it's already happening.
Yeah.
It's already in the books.
Well, that's something I'll give it up to the guy who created it. I feel like when I'm watching it, I'm going, he created a world that could not only have maybe 3 movies about this world, but there could be spin-off movies about each independent world. They keep referencing this old, this war that happened 2,000 years ago.
Yeah.
If you get us invested enough into these characters, drop the three-peat about that old orc war, where the orcs chose the wrong side and the elves and that. Now you're back in like almost Game of Thrones land. Not Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, Hobbit kind of thing. You could go. What I heard a lot of people criticize this about is there wasn't enough backstory. They didn't develop it enough.
Maybe you get more of that in the second one. That's
Exactly.
what I'm hoping for.
What I don't get is I get why Netflix will dump a lot of money to a show, right? You're gonna get 10 hours of content for something like if I'm watching a show, it's gonna take me say a month to watch a show.
Right.
A movie, spending $100 million on a movie, that's just 2 hours. I'm done with it that day. Right? So it consumed, trashed. Right? Does it make sense for them to do this, or shouldn't
They're
they just
trying
keep-
to make Netflix irreplaceable in your life.
I get it.
Okay, so just putting out TV shows and
But
low
there's 100
budget stuff.
But why?
I'll tell you
Yeah,
what.
they're making it so it's it's
$100 million
indispensable.
movie.
Once it's independent, once it's indispensable,
Right.
you start doing tiered viewership.
Right.
And tiered viewership is, oh yeah, it's $9.99 for all the TV shows and films.
If you want movies.
Oh, but if you want movies, that's $15.99. And now you've already seen so many movies. You have a podcast you do with your friend that reviews the movies. You have your girlfriend and you guys watch one of these movies once a month, and all of a sudden you go, well, it's only $5. Now you're getting $5 a month, and you don't even go see a movie once a month.
Now, does that net neutrality stuff kind of factor into all this stuff?
I don't know what the net neutrality thing is.
It's not.
It's fine.
No, because that's more like the gatekeepers of the internet, like Verizon, Fios, and
If anything, it helps them. If anything, it helps Netflix. It's new. It's newer.
it
websites.
definitely helps them. Yeah.
It's newer websites. It's not going to drive up prices of this stuff.
Yeah, Netflix.
That's not going to happen.
Well, Netflix wants net neutrality.
Well, yeah, of course they do. All the big companies want net neutrality.
Wait,
no, they don't want net neutrality.
No, they do. That's the thing that
bro.
people misunderstand.
Yeah.
So because what happens is right now with net neutrality, what net neutrality is everybody basically pays the same amount for internet. You're not allowed to charge different amounts for different types of internet.
For the companies that like AT&T
Producing
or
content on the internet or
No,
a website.
No. So just in general. So
like
Verizon. I'll explain. So Verizon charges us. Let's just say put it out there, $50 for internet. Right. We all get charged $50 for internet. Your mom gets charged $50. I get charged $50. Right. Now I use way more internet than your mom. Right. Your mom, let's say, doesn't go. Let's just hypothetically say she doesn't go on Netflix. She doesn't go on Instant Messenger. She doesn't go on social media. Anything. She literally just uses internet for email. Without net neutrality, without net neutrality, she could buy a type of internet that just allows her to message and do emails, which is what she does. Uses the internet for. Right now, she's subsidizing our Netflix watching. Now, studios like Netflix and these other internet-based things have put millions of dollars into lobbying layman folk, regular people, into thinking that net neutrality is this important thing. It's not.
Right.
They just don't want to get fucked. So the real fair thing is to have an old lady be able to buy just email and messaging if she wants for $20.
The same way you get a cable subscription and you get like 3 channels instead of 10, right?
There's no different than cable. And people are making it into this big deal. Like the internet is going to be taken over by Verizon. It's the same as your cable package. You either get HBO or you don't get HBO. It's really no different.
That's what it's going to be.
Yeah, but people have made it into a big deal. They've really been kind of bullied. And all you need to do is look at who wants it and who doesn't want it to find out what the
And these internet companies need to make up the delta that they're going to lose from the cable subscription.
Delta means difference.
Yeah.
Correct. So
we don't know that. You got to explain that to us.
I think you're talking about Delta Airlines.
So right now you're also being subsidized by your fucking telephone package, even though you don't own a fucking telephone.
Exactly.
They make you buy a triple plan,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you have this phone. Never had a phone hooked up in my life as an adult. And the same thing is going to happen now eventually with the cable. As more kids cut the cord, they're going to be just internet users. Now Verizon needs to figure out, okay, I just lost $100 a month. Where am I going to make that?
Where am I going to get back?
I'm going to get it back somehow.
Now, they also don't have to supply that service anymore, so they get to save some money on labor and all that kind of shit like that.
No, but
it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It will end up being the same thing. But people are like, oh my God, they're going to take away some of our websites. No, they're not going to take away.
They're not going to charge $1.99 for a Google search.
They're not going to do that because they have to compete with someone else who provides internet. And this is the great thing that happens here. We're used to a cable company that dominates our life because it's kind of a monopoly. You either get Spectrum or you have no internet in your building.
Right.
But internet is moving to wireless. So as it moves to wireless, I could get that same package not from Spectrum. I could get it from Verizon. I could get it from these other sources. It's not one building has one cable thing and then they could do whatever they want. Once we can compete, there's no way you're going to take any channels away from me because, Poppy, if you take channels away from me, I'm going to...
Right.
But the other aspect of net neutrality, though, is that like any website you access is at the same speed, right?
This is a good art. This is something that's...
So the problem is like if I start up like marcosblog.net and like you have google.com, you get to Google the same speed, like they operate on the same speed. The concern that a lot of people have was that now Google can pay for the highest speed access, whereas I can't pay the same amount as Google to get you to my website faster.
Right.
So now is it going to hurt?
The rich are going to get richer.
Is it going to hurt the smaller guy that are trying to compete in this space?
So I think that's the lobbying argument that they make.
That's the lobbying argument.
But I think the reality of the matter is that any good service provider wouldn't hinder the speed.
Because you're going to hurt your customer.
Because you're going to hurt your customer. And then I would just go to the company because now I have the ability to go to whatever company.
Exactly.
I'm going to go to a company that doesn't turn down the speed. But what I can do is if Netflix decides that they don't want to pay me what I believe they should pay me, I could tell Netflix, hey, I'm going to have to throttle your speed if you don't pay what I believe you deserve to pay for bandwidth.
Right.
Now you're uploading all these things onto our bandwidth that costs us money, and you're not paying more?
Yeah.
Sorry, you're going to have to up the price. So that gives them more leverage with Netflix, but they would never hurt the consumer because once you do,
gone.
And you know how much it costs to get someone back? Apparently, once you leave a cell phone company, it costs them $10,000 in advertising to bring you back.
New customer. Yeah.
No, to bring you back from leaving. That's why when you go on the phone, you're like, yo, I'm leaving.
Just cut that person a check.
Fam, give me 5 Gs.
Give me 5 Gs.
I'm back. Bye, Sprint. I can hear you now.
Yeah.
So I have a question. How long do you think before things really change?
Well, things didn't exist prior to 2015. There were no net neutrality laws prior to 2015.
No.
So
you know what I'm saying?
No. I'm talking.
Get into that. That's
I'm trying to get back to Netflix and this movie and the movie industry and tying with net neutrality. How long before like things are just like how long before every month, every week there's a big movie dropping on Netflix?
How long?
Yeah.
Like you're saying, it's going in this direction. So how long?
And how long before there's less movies dropping in theaters?
Yo, it could happen rapidly. I think 5 to 7 years. Is that too long?
Dude, less.
I don't know. I'm totally fucking spitballing.
Actually, no.
How many movies Netflix put out?
No. Here's what it is. Here's what it is. It can't be too short because movies are on a 3-year production cycle.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So the movies that Lionsgate or whatever has already approved and started to make now aren't going to come out until 3 years, and they've already signed deals, I would imagine, with certain theater companies to put them out. So it's going to be more delayed than a completely natural, free-flowing thing would be. And those movies are going to lose a lot of fucking money.
Yeah.
Because we'll have already adapted to this.
Yeah.
So, like an independent movie or like a smaller budget movie, films are much quicker, right? Like you film things in like
6 months,
6 weeks, and then how long does it take to edit it and final it?
The film I'm going to film it right now in Pittsburgh is I think we're going to do in a month.
You're going to do it in a month. How long before they edit it? Post production.
Less than that.
6 months.
What do you think?
It's the same thing as when we were talking about There's Johnny versus Stranger Things.
Ready to be viewed for the public within.
So
you're going to film it in January, and you're going to have it. You can have it out by June. Right.
Ideally, they should put it out for Christmas because it's Christmas film.
Obviously, but I'm saying, but like
Jack, is that timeline? See, Jack knows better than I do.
So Netflix said they announced like a while ago that they're gonna do like 50 movies or something like next year.
They have a number, yeah. I don't know what the number is.
I forget what the number is, but I don't know if it was like 20 or 50, but it was like they're really blowing out the budget. They're just gonna be dropping movies all the time on Netflix in 2018 or 2019.
Well, then it becomes behavioral for a younger generation that they don't go to the movies anymore.
That's what they want.
Our generation went to the movies as kids. So we still go to movies. It's not that big of a deal to us.
Yeah.
As kids get older and are now like become the target market and are now paying these things themselves and getting these subscriptions, they're not conditioned to go to movies anymore. It's
writing a letter.
Them.
So think about this.
It's writing a letter.
I grew up with cable, and we had cable in our house, and then when we left our house and we got our own place, what was the first thing we did? We called the cable company. We got cable because we had to, right? Now, kids that are growing up with Netflix, growing up with streaming services, right? They have it. They're not paying for it. The first thing to do when they get it on their own is they're going to call these streaming services, or not call, but obviously they're going to sign up for the streaming services right away because that's what it is. And they're not going to be calling cable, and they're not going to be going.
Well, they got to get internet hooked up to get the streaming shows. So they are going to be calling them. It doesn't.
No, they'll do it on their phone or some shit like But you know what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I'm saying specifically for the moviegoer.
You don't even need to have internet. You can have a cell phone. That's internet. I get it. But you don't need to have like house internet.
Yeah, you do to watch the stuff.
To watch it at home, but
So eventually the internet, in the ether, will be so good that you don't need to have that cable unit.
Right.
I mean, it is already good enough to watch it on our phones right here. And me personally, my TV is hooked up through that internet. Like, I don't have a cable directly in to my TV. I have a smart TV that uses Wi-Fi to get to. Okay. But I didn't think that the TV would be able to render shit fast enough for Netflix. It is.
That's wild. I don't have that. That's crazy.
I mean,
really?
The wireless.
I didn't even want it. I wanted the direct thing because I assume, how we're like old. We're like Ethernet. Get the cord in there. That's what the speed is.
Yeah.
But it's the Wi-Fi's quick now.
Huh.
Yeah, I have two TVs. One is connected to a cable box. The other one has a Roku stick plugged into it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think what you said, this level blockbuster, the mid-level, is going to thrive in this format.
It's gonna be great.
I think there's always going to be the Star Wars or like the Christopher Nolan movie or like those are always going to be like the summer blockbusters, the Marvel movies. Like you're going to go to iPick and spend that money on that. But you're going to see a lot of these independent movies, these award movies, like they're going to be all over these streamings, or they're going to have their own. Like it would be smart if the studios, if you bought like a Fox box, right, and it's like Fox Studios, and you get all access for like a monthly $50 fee or something, you get access to the movies of that month, right?
And that's what they're doing.
That's the way they would have to do it.
And we're hitting award season now, and every year the awards that get the movies that get discussed aren't. It's not Star Wars. It's not Marvel. It's these like really random movies that people don't see. Mm-hmm. And if all these prestige movies are now on Netflix or Amazon or whatever the hell it is. Then like they're really going to be crushing
movies. Don't need to be in the theater either. Like I needed to see Star Wars in the theater.
Yeah, of course,
absolutely.
You don't see, there's a good.
I have Star Wars. I haven't even watched it because I want to see it in the theater.
Yeah, you have the screener.
Yeah.
We talk about screeners. I asked you if you got Phantom Thread yet. Right?
Yeah.
So Phantom Thread's a movie directed by this guy Paul Thomas Anderson.
Great movie. Yeah.
And I said I don't like seeing his movies in theaters. I like seeing his movies on the couch. Mm-hmm. I don't think his movies are good enough to see in the theater. But for some reason, when I watch it on my couch, I'm like, wow, this is a fucking dope ass movie.
But that goes back to this. But we're talking about like high quality. We're talking about.
But if I'm sitting in a theater for his movies are like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, it's a lot, B.
It's a lot.
You want to be able to pause it and pee.
It's a great couch movie.
Yeah.
And how many movies are going to be great couch movies?
A lot.
So
a lot.
No,
all of them except for like 1%.
Well, check it because a great movie is still a great couch movie.
Yeah.
Independence Day is the shit on your couch or at the theater, right? So it's Star Wars, right? So it don't matter. So, but you can also have that tier of movies that is just great on your couch.
It's like anytime you're flicking through the channels and Departed's on, you can't not watch it.
You can watch a little of that shit.
Yeah.
So I think what this is great for, this new Netflix model is going to be great for. This is actually going to cause a resurgence in film because I think what happened I think what happened was this. I think that the mid-level movie that was this got turned into the greatest series of all time. The mid-level movie, instead of being a mid-level movie, was The Wire or Sopranos or Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad could have easily been one of these mid-level movies. But what they did is studios were like, no, we only make $300 million movies. We only make $200 million. We don't know what this $50 million mid-level. We're not risking $50 million on no actor or nothing. So they ended up in the hands of these TV execs who were like, okay, let's fucking.
Is that true though?
I don't think that they were written as movie. I just think writers were like, nobody's going to make this $50 million. Why don't I stretch it out and turn it into TV?
Yeah.
And then we had the golden age of television. And now with a place for these mid-level, no big actor, nothing that you have to pay a lot, but a great storyline, a great world, I think you're going to see the resurgence of the independent film or like the mid-level film.
So the same way that like
going back to Jack's point, are they going to go off data or are they going to go off actual art?
It depends on what Netflix is going to go off the data until it becomes,
Or what,
so these mid-level movies aren't these
a lot of them are made
great
already.
movies. They're just bullet point.
A lot of them are made already.
Right.
So like the independent person who goes, I'm going to make Koju or whatever that. Okja, right? I'm going to make Okja. And then Netflix is like, hey, we need content. That movie's dope.
We'll buy it.
Copped.
Yeah.
And I think that will happen like ideally.
I hope so.
Yeah. So like Whitney Cummings made a movie that I was in.
Yeah.
Independent film. She sold it to IFC.
Yep.
Right? Not the TV channel, but the movie. So it's going to show in the theaters. She could easily sold that to Netflix. And I think we'll see a lot more of that and more people willing to risk that $10 million because there's a buyer instead of playing the fucking, what is it, those award shows? What are they? Cannes and
Cannes and Venice Film Festival, Toronto. Yeah.
They put them in the film festival and then they just sit there and hope.
Yeah. Hope that it'll get acquired by one of the big studios or by, it's interesting. In the early 90s, early to mid 90s, there was a resurgence of the independent, that was like the golden age of independent movies. That could easily happen again. But now we're talking about independent movies that are like 30 million to 50 million.
It's a weird range, right?
Instead of 300,000 to 500,000.
No, but it's a weird range, right? It's like, because who's going to spend 30 million? Like, I don't have this money, but I'd rather spend $100 million with Will Smith than $30 million with Andrew Schultz.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
sure.
I know I'm fucking in the red with Will Smith, but it's fucking Will Smith. He's going to bring, with me at the helm of your movie, who the fuck knows? The movie got to be great.
Yeah.
And then you find me.
Yeah.
You know?
No, it's less. I know, like, they gave, I forget, maybe it was like Jake Johnson. He did a movie for Netflix, some gambling movie. I think he just they gave me like 8.
It's great.
and that was it. So he was like, it was great. I didn't get notes. I had artistic freedom, do whatever I wanted. They gave me my budget. I still want to stay within it. They didn't have a problem. Right? So it's even like less. So you're even going to see some of that. Some great movies come out for under $10 million.
Oh yeah.
Right? So
I mean, all these great comedies are $5 million
right.
films, right? Like all the not Wedding Crashers, but what was that other one?
Well, that's a whole nother.
Superbad?
That might maybe ties into
The
this.
Superbad
Could
style,
not have been
right?
a big budget.
No, they're small budget, these movies.
When was the last time we had a good comedy?
Yo,
I
it's been
talked
minute
about
or
this
10
the other
years.
day. There is like no one's having a run, right?
Yeah, because
Growing
it's a
up, you
tough.
had like
It's a
the
tough
Sandler
place.
run, the Vince Vaughn run, the Apatow run.
You're
Right.
talking to me.
Right. No one's having a run right now in comedy.
Because
How
where
do
are
you
they going
feel
to do
about
it?
that?
Are they going to do it in
There's
this?
no one that's like, no
don't-
one's having a run.
No
right
one
now.
took the mantle from like the Apatow guys.
Yeah, they thought it was going to be Amy, and then just people didn't watch the movie, I guess. I don't know. I haven't watched
People
any.
went to it, but
But that was Apatow. That was kind of like an extension of the Apatow.
Oh, are you talking about director or are you talking about actor?
I'm talking about the style,
Yeah.
right? Where you're just like, yo, that group, that actor, that whatever is going to give me, I know the funny movie I'm about to get.
those used to be great. Like the Apatow model was like make a movie for mid.
Oh, Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart's had the run. Kevin Hart kills it. We
But it's
might not like
that
it,
funny.
but there's a difference between you think it's funny and the world think it's funny.
Here's the, I guess
know
I'm
what I
more
mean?
picky, like all these movies that they were like kind of like R-rated comedies. Kevin Hart's going big and he's kind of making them PG-13 and he's making these like fluff comedy movies. And they're entertaining, but they're not like
Numbers-wise,
gut-busting funny.
Numbers wise, and that's really all that matters. Unless if we're discussing artistic merit, then we could go back to some of the movies of people we thought had a run, and we could be like, all right, that ain't that. I don't know if Lil Dicky is or whatever the
Little
fuck.
Dicky.
That was the end of the run, though.
What is it?
Lil Nicky.
Lil Nicky. Yeah,
was like, Lil
yeah,
Nicky,
whatever that
whatever.
shit is. Yeah. Though I did think that movie was kind of funny. Lil Nicky.
was
There
funny.
was some moments
It
in that
was.
movie when
It
he's
was.
just smashing
You
his
and everyone
dead
else
foot.
on Netflix that watched it.
Exactly. It's a
Anyway,
good question. What happens with comedy? Who's going to make the push?
Well, that's the thing. Who's going to take like the Apatow run was great because it made a shitload. Every movie made a shitload of money, and it was made for like in this mid-range level that we're talking about. People don't want to take the risk now, so it's like
Is that what it is? You think?
yeah. I think there's not as many bankable like Apatow. He still has that the name Apatow,
he
like an
does.
Apatow production. He could still get a movie made with that. That's how Big Sick got.
Apatow's still
produced
making movies.
Dude,
yeah.
even with
No, I know
HBO,
that.
And Big
they
Sick
said
was probably
8
the
episodes.
funniest movie I saw this year.
Yeah. Wait, what's that?
Even with HBO, I did an episode of Crashing, and they said
Yeah.
this is Apatow for a TV series, and they were still like, "We'll give you 8 episodes."
Yeah.
I mean, this is this is the biggest comedy director
Yeah.
who's
Yeah.
producing a show and is directly involved in it. Probably said he's going to direct the pilot, and they'll be like, "We'll start you with 8."
Yeah.
I mean, that's wild.
Yeah.
Just doesn't seem like there's anyone out there right now.
Well, I think what it is, and this is what you were saying, the TV execs, the big movies that are being made, they go, what was this? Was this a book that a bunch of women watched or that read, like 50 Shades of Grey? Was this a cartoon?
Is it already
a
existing
Marvel?
property that we know we can bank on?
I'm not spending $100 million unless it's already existing property. That's plain and simple. And so these people started taking the stuff that wasn't already existing and they wrote TV shows out of it instead. Because the TV channels don't have the budget to spend $300 million.
I think the comedies are in TV. Like now you're finding like auteur comedies like Atlanta and
But they're auteur.
Insecure. Right. They're auteur.
Right?
Yeah.
We got a lot of artsy comedies out.
Right.
Which is
But
cool. I enjoy them.
Where's the mass comedy?
Sometimes you just want a belly laugh, though, man.
Yeah, man. Like, and honestly, not for nothing. Like, a lot of that shit comes from we're too PC right now for this shit,
yeah.
right? Like, a lot of that shit comes from you have to say fucked up things, and we're just a little too PC for the belly funny shit.
Yeah.
It's true.
Very true.
Yeah.
Last movie I saw in the theater where I was like dying was This Is the End. And it was,
This Is the End was
it was
great.
certain scenes.
Yeah.
That was like 2-3 years ago now.
That was way more than 2-3 years ago.
Was it?
Yeah, I think so.
Whatever. But
Yeah,
it's been a while.
I wonder too if like meme culture has an effect. Like the fact that we can go on our phone and look at a fucking Instagram account and laugh our ass off and then be like, all right, like
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
probably why we don't miss it,
right.
but it's still not. They're still like that. Boy.
I think that also stars are so accessible now. We don't get excited to see them in the theater like we used to.
Yeah.
Like when we were growing up, the only time you could see Vince Vaughn was when he was in a movie. The only time you
Right.
could see Will Smith when he wasn't on the TV show was when he was in a movie. It was really special to go see that because you really gravitated toward this person and you had desire because he was restricted.
Yeah.
Restricted
the idea
access.
of the movie star is definitely a change thing.
No, you just go on his Instagram Live. You just hang out with him all fucking day. He answers a question. It's like,
Yeah, he's Periscope and you're like, all
yeah,
right.
you're talking to this guy.
Yeah.
You know, the access maybe.
Anyway, it's crazy. It's a great discussion because everything's changing.
Yeah, it didn't end up being about Bright. This was more about the business itself, but I thought it was great. Yeah.
But the truth is, no one knows. Everybody's trying to scramble to figure this shit out, and it's all changing so rapidly that everybody's like, "What the fuck?" And everybody's worried about their jobs. All the executives, all the studios are like, "What the fuck?"
But that's when the bad decisions.
Exactly, and they're already being made.
What is it they say? Made out of fear, not out of decisions made out of fear, not out of confidence, or something. I don't know.
Probably botched it, but
yeah,
but
sounds like it.
I'm telling you. Based off of data, we might see my big rat freak wedding.
Ooh, that'd be hot. Who stars in it? Lena Dunham. All right, this has been another episode of WesterBros. Thank you guys for listening so much. Make sure you guys check us all out on Instagram. We said at the beginning of it. And yeah, we're going to go some Chinese food. Peace.